Now, would it mean that we did not write about the Assumption because at that time the Assumption was not important till 1950 when Pope Pius the first.
Yes, thank you. I think it's not that it was not important, because John wrote not only one book, because he wrote the Gospel, but he also wrote the book, the Revelations. You know that John is the one who wrote it. You also know that he wrote the letter of St. John. He wrote also a letter, you know that. But you know, when you are writing, you have a reason why you're writing. For example, if I tell you to write about the history of Nagulu Parish, you might not miss to put in your history book the different parish priests who have led this parish, right from Father Stigmans to Father Vrigin. But if I asked you to write about the biography of Father Stephen, you might not find it important to include Father Stigmans in my biography. You understand? Because the gospel was intended to teach about Christ. You understand? So the gospel is, because even John himself, he writes in his, let's say, if everything was written, the books of all the world would not be able to contain. But I'm giving you just some things so that you may believe. So the same thing, he could not include every single story, especially now if it is not pertaining to Christ himself. So, but doesn't mean that the people did not see, or Mary, or John himself. Of course, some people were like, John, you could have wrote another book for us, maybe the gospel about Mary, or because I mean, you stayed with her, you know. But unfortunately, he might have written one, but we didn't get to find it, or we didn't see it. But we don't have any book by John on Mary. The only time John writes about Mary is in Revelations chapter 12, when he narrates this vision, which means this vision is what he saw on that day. He should have been there. He should have been a witness. So what we are unfortunate not to have is a written account of someone who narrates what was happening. Of course, extra biblical sources may have some of these accounts as witnesses of witnesses, but the good thing is that tradition was kept, and the celebration of this Assumption has been happening ever since. You know, when Thomas had gone to India, came back, when he heard that Mary had died or had gone to heaven, whatever, or her life had ended, he came to see the tomb. And when they opened, it was empty. From that time till today, we are celebrating Assumption. That time when John was still alive, when Thomas was still alive. So it's not that in 1950, the church was now reminding people. No, the church was not just confirming what people have already been celebrating and praying. It is like, you know that people go to Mijogori and there are things that have happened there. Mary has appeared. But even if the church has not yet come to declare and say, this is now a Marian, you get. For example, in Kibeho, it took some time before the church came in to confirm that it is true Mary appeared here. So it does happen that sometimes when were the Ugandan martyrs killed? In 1886, but they were canonized in 1964. Does it mean they were not saints until 1964? No, the church is only confirming what people have already believed, what people have already seen and testified. So that is what happened. The church, yes, it took time, but the church still confirmed it. Because maybe in the start, the popes didn't see the reason why we have to pronounce this as a dogma, because, well, everyone knows it and believes it, everyone is, so there's no need. The only time the Pope came to confirm and declare it is because they had begun with, we had begun these debates against it. Where is it in the scripture? What? So the Pope had to come out and define it definitively, to say no more debate on this. You understand? Yes.
So